Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's class. It's lovely to have a look at you guys again in Zoom, and I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight. Right, tonight's class is about writing picture books, and what I've done to give us a little bit more space in the class is I've smooshed picture books and board books together. So what is a picture book? Our picture books are for, say, ages 3 to 5. Ages 1 to 3 have picture books as well. These days, they're mainly board books, which are those slightly stouter, curved-ended cardboard, laminated books for the very young. Both are extremely highly illustrated with very little text generally. And they are naturally for their readers, who can be anywhere from 0 years old up to probably 6 or 7 in truth. But we break them into 1 to 3 and 3 to 5s. Now, I think most of you will know this text. This is The Tiger Who Came to Tea, and we're going to look at it for a couple of reasons. First of all, when you write a picture book text, you're not just competing with everybody else who's writing picture book text. You're also competing with the great classics of picture book text, because the people who buy picture books are parents, grandparents, and librarians in the main. And they are very fond of the books that they grew up with themselves, and very fond of the books that they shared with their own children. So these books become classics, and they become perennial favorites. And on the bookshelves at any local shop, you'll see that there is a great many of these, and a new book has to kind of fight for space in that display. Another reason I wanted you to look at The Tiger Who Came to Tea, because it is an example of how text and illustration works together. So just to refresh your memory, this tiger comes into the house and eats everything, takes all of their food and eats it himself. He even drinks the taps dry so they don't have any water. Now, this is fairly a calamitous thing to happen, but it doesn't feel that way. And the reason it doesn't feel that way is the way the illustrations work. So let's look at this lovely tiger, kind of a chubby tiger, but with kind of loose, floppy skin, very strokable, soft fur. What a smiley face, non-threatening ears. There's no great big claws. There's no great big teeth showing. This is just a really nice, cuddly tiger. Now, the text is talking about all the rule breaking and theft and voracious greed that the tiger's exhibiting, but the illustrations just look like the most cuddly, most wonderful being to ever come into your home. So those two things work together in the child's mind to have this kind of delicious, safe naughtiness. And that is how text and illustration can work together, so that the text is actually providing one thing and the illustration is providing something else, and those get synthesized inside the child reader's mind. Here's an example of an amazing text that was, I think, the Kate Greenaway winner, if not last year, the year before. This is Julian as a Mermaid. The illustrations are so beautiful and colorful, and I'm sorry that the cover is wonderful but doesn't actually hold all the magic of the inside. This is about a boy called Julian. He is riding in the subway with his abuela going home from the swimming pool, and he sees these incredible looking women. The women are drag queens. They're dressed up for a pride festival, and they just look absolutely spectacular. And Julian is mesmerized. And when he gets home and his abuela goes for a shower, he kind of tears her flat apart to provide the materials to dress up himself. There's this moment of tension when abuela emerges from the shower and sees what he has done. And in that moment, everything kind of rests. But abuela comes through. Abuela finds necklaces and helps Julian with his mermaid outfit, and all is well. So this is a wonderful text to look at, but I wanted to show it to you for a couple of reasons. Firstly, picture books are extremely expensive to make. Typically, a publisher will need to sell it into several different language areas in order to make it economically viable to publish a picture book. So texts generally have to be culturally transferable. That means that sometimes rhyme is really limited. This one has Julian riding the subway home. It looks very much like New York to me, but it would be familiar scenes to anybody from an urban environment. So it's easy to print. Well, it's not easy, but they print the illustration pages and then they lay the text on in different languages. And this makes a picture book economically viable. So this particular picture book is a great example of how text is culturally transferable to allow it into different markets. Yeah, and then I say that, and then I'm going to show you Tidy, which has a rhyming text. So Tidy is a wonderful book about a badger who keeps tidying the woods until he actually concretes it over, and his friends and himself have no food and no place to live. So this is kind of an ecological fairy tale, but it's so engaging. And I wanted you to look at this for a couple of reasons. Emily Garrett is the author-illustrator. But not everybody is an author-illustrator. Some of the most successful children's books writers, like Joy Donaldson, who works with Alice Schiffer, is not an illustrator. This is a rhyming text. The English language is a large market. If people at the publishers feel fairly secure, thinking, yes, this is going to be a great breakout book, they might go for a rhyming text, but it makes it a little bit harder for you. If you're not an illustrator of some renowned, it's probably not the place for you to start to break into illustration, trying to write your own picture book. Your text can have little asides explaining what you think that the picture the illustration should carry in each page. And you should probably give a little bit of space for the illustrator to come up with their own ideas. So just kind of keep the direction to a minimum to get the flavor of what the page should look like. Right? I mean, look at this wonderful badger. Look how supercilious and kind of difficult he looks even from behind with his posture when he's putting this leaf in this basket. You want a pro for that. Right, so here are the do's and don'ts for picture books and board books. We're looking at the concerns of people aged between 1 and 5, and that's probably broken into 2 lots. So board books are generally about the concerns of very young people, and picture books are a little bit wider, more about exploring the world and different kinds of people and amazing things that might happen. They are heavily illustrated. I've talked about rhyme. Anything goes when it comes to topics as long as it's appropriate to the readership. And the word count is usually around 400, 500, but it can be as low as 0 for like a Chanton book, or up to 1,500 for some very chatty people. So this is your exercise. Now, I'm not going to go through how a 32-page folds kind of work. It's really complicated. I would go on to a website if you think this is going to be, where you're going to be working as a writer. So you can do that, or you can just write a skills building exercise and write 24 pages with some double folds and a numbered list. So just write from 1 to 24, and then every page give us some text and describe what the illustration might look like. And you want to leave room for the imagination of the illustrator. And you want to think about how illustration and text work together in your young readers' minds. Lovely. I'll see you later. Bye.